Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about decimals and fractions. We've talked a little bit about that in our last unit when we were looking at percents and fractions and decimals, but we're just going to go back over. So this may be quite easy for you. It may be a repeat of stuff that you already know, but I just want to make sure that we touch on everything and everybody feels super comfortable with it. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the top. It says the instruments below show the part of students in the school orchestra that play each type of instrument. How can you write each part as a fraction? So they're showing that the brass instruments, it says, are 25 hundredths, okay? So it says to express that in word form. So that would be, get around my cord, that would be 25 hundredths. Okay. And then it's saying that, hang on a second. Okay, it's saying that they want you to write it as a fraction. Okay, so we know from talking previously that we write it the way we read it correctly. Okay, 25 hundredths, and hundredths is our place value, and that's our denominator. Now, I know some of you are probably looking at that and going, it needs to be simplified, it needs to be simplified. Absolutely. You always, always, always want to simplify your fractions. And so if we were going to simplify this, we know that 25 and 100, I always think about quarters. There are 4 quarters in a dollar, so we know that they're both divisible by 25. So 25 divided by 25 would give us 1. 100 divided by 25 would give us 4. So that means that 1/4 of the students in the school orchestra play a brass instrument. So let's talk about percussion. I know you probably don't know this about me. Maybe some even my people who know me at school don't know this about me. But I've always wanted to play the drums, okay? Never learned how to play the drums, but I've always wanted to play the drums. So maybe when I retire someday. Okay, we're going to express 0.15 in word form. So we're going to read the number. So that would be 15. And then the place value is the hundredths place. So it's 15 hundredths. And then we write it as a fraction, exactly the way we read it. And then we could simplify that. Now, any number that ends in 5 and also ends in 0, we know that those are divisible by 5, aren't they? So we could simplify by dividing by 5 and divide by 5. And 15 divided by 5 would be 3. 100 divided by 5, think about, I always think about dimes, but that's not really right. But 100 divided by 5 would be 20. Now the strings instruments, you've got 0.31. The way to read that correctly would be 31. And then your place value would be hundredths. And then write it as a fraction. You have 31 over 100. We know 31 is prime, so that's in its simplest form. And then looking at the woodwinds, we've got 0.29. That would be 29. Come here, baby Norman. He wants some attention. 29 hundredths. And write it as a fraction. You have 29 over 100. And 29 is prime, so that's in its simplest form as well. I'm sorry he's barking, y'all. Now let's go to the next side. Next page. That's page 58. Page 58. Norman, honey, come here. Come here, baby. So you've got expressed decimals, that's fractions and mixed numbers. So you've got decimals. You've got the 25 hundredths, the 15 hundredths, 31 hundredths, 29 hundredths. It's saying that those can all be expressed as fractions with denominators of 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. Any number that can be expressed as a fraction is a rational number. Okay, that's a big. This is important. This is really important. Okay. And so now let's look at some examples. Oh, right here, decimals like 3.25, that would be 3 and 25 hundredths. Those can be expressed as mixed numbers in simplest form. Okay, so right here we have 6/10. I love how they've got the place value chart for you here. I know that in 5th grade, you guys probably made that place value chart and put it in your math journal. So if you've still got your 5th grade math journal, pull it out and look at it. So here we've got express each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. We have 6/10. So the first thing they did was, it says say 6/10. And then it says, you write it the way you read it, and then you simplify it by dividing by your greatest common factor. Okay? Norman, come here, baby. Come here. And so, and they've got your place value chart over here for you to see, you know, where it says 6/10. Okay. And then example number 2, you've got 45 hundredths. So you write it as your fraction. You find your greatest common factor of 45 and 100. They're both divisible by 5. Okay, that's what they did. They divided by 5, and they got 9/20. Okay. Right here, you've got 375 thousandths. The way you say it is the way you rewrite it as a fraction. And they divided by, it looks like, what did they divide by? Oh, my brain's not working right now. Okay. Hang on. So if you have, let me do it over here. 8 into 1,000. I don't know why my brain's not working. That's 8. That'd be 2. That would be 2, which would be 16. Oh, okay. So it's 125. Okay. 125. So they divided by 125. And that's how they got, I'll put divided by 100, 125. And that's how they got the 3, and that's how they got the 8. Okay. Now let's look at down here at the bottom. First thing we're going to do is we're going to write it the way we read it. Okay. So we have 8/10. Okay. And then we need to put it in simplest form, right? 8 and 10 are both even numbers. They're both divisible by 2. Okay, so if we divide by 2, we would get 4/5. Okay, so 4/5 would be your answer for A. And then for B, you've got 28 hundredths. Those are both even numbers, right? And they're both divisible by 2. But we want to see if we can go, Norman, come here, buddy. Come here. I'm making a math video. Okay? He wants to be part of the video. So we're going to divide by, I would divide by 4. Okay? So 28 divided by 4 would give you 7. And then 100 divided by 4 would give you 25. So you would have 7/25. Okay, let's look at C. We've got 125 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Now, if it ends in 5 and 0, it's divisible by 5. But if it ends in 25 and double 0, it's divisible by 25. Okay? So, we could divide by 25 and, hang on a second. Can we go bigger? Okay, so if we divided by 25, that would be 4, that'd be 5, right? And 25 would go into 1,000. Let's go up here and do this. I'm so sorry, he keeps barking. So that would be 4 into 100. Bring down your 0. Okay, so that would be 40. Okay, now 5/40ths, that can be simplified. You can divide that by 5, which would be 1/8. 1/8. Very good. Okay, now let's go to page 59. Page 59. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. My students, they know that you're here, okay? So example number 4. The average length of a conch shell is 9 85 inches. Express it as a mixed number in simplest form, okay? And that's what they did here. They did 9 as a whole number, 85 hundredths, and then they simplified it, okay? So let's look at this one. It takes approximately 4 65 hundredths quarts of milk to make a pound of cheese. Express this amount as a mixed number in simplest form. So we're going to have 4 and 65 over 100. And then you're going to simplify the 65 hundredths. Okay, I'm going to have to stop this video and I'm going to have to take care of him and I'm going to make a part 2. Okay, so just be patient.